Hi, this is Joe Tate, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Sports Fix listeners, do you tweet? So do we. So tweet with us 24/7 at the Sports Fix CLE.
Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix@AOL.com. That's thesportsfix@AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Fantasy Jocks. Looking to upgrade your league trophy? Check out fantasyjocks.com for championship belts, rings, trophies, and more.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
And away we go, baby. Off and running. Tuesday edition of the Sports Fix, right? Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday edition of the Sports Fix here. Welcome in, you guys, to a loaded edition. Well, I don't know. Things changing around here as we go here. We're going live on the air with things in flux, but that's okay. Let's get ready to do this. We've got a lot of things to talk about, no matter the shape of this program here, behind-the-scenes stuff, of course. If you've listened to the show for any length of time, you know that that's just a par for the course, baby. But we've got a lot to get into, of course. The hangover from opening day and that moment when baseball fans realize, man, there's 160. Well, at least they should realize there's 161 more of these things to go. It doesn't matter if you win 10-0, if you lose 1-0, 2-0, whatever it is. There's a whole long baseball season left to go. But man, what a great game. The Indians fans, baseball fans, Astros fans treated to with the first game of the season for the Tribe there. And, of course, the sky is falling, of course. Bruce, my man sent me a message, said he's going to call here early on in the show. He said he's watching some of these stations around town, and they're asking the question, what's wrong with the Indians? Why can't they score, you know? And I'm like, look, I get the 24-hour news cycle, and I get the need for things to talk about. But, like, when you get that dramatic with it, and I don't know, I'm going to get into it in a minute. We got to, just get the show rolling and all of that. But what's the drama for after day one? Are the Indians ever going to score? Is this going to be the tale of the season? Give me a break, man. It was a great pitcher's duel yesterday. Man, Sonny Gray, too, took a run at some history yesterday. Some pitchers got going, and we got to see a couple of them. We're going to talk, of course, about that. About the Cleveland Indians. They kicked this thing off, and, well, unfortunately now the best they can do is go 161-1. But that's okay, man. Off and running with another baseball season. We're going to talk about it all here momentarily. We're going to talk with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com, get his thoughts on the opening game. Talk to him a little bit about the Indians signing contracts with Kluber, and it looks like the final details being finalized, physical and all of that, Carrasco as well. We'll talk about all that stuff with Jeff Gorman here in a little bit. I'm going to open up the phone lines right away. Like I said, my man Bruce said expect a phone call, so I'm looking to hear from him, but I'm going to hear from all of you guys here today. We'll open up the phones. We're going to talk about everything that's going on. NCAA title game in the books, a great one. Tell you what, Indianapolis got a great trio of games there, of course. The Classic the other night with Kentucky and Wisconsin, and then that game yesterday. Duke ends up gets the Duke, no pun intended, or maybe I did intend the pun since I did say that intentionally. But 5 rings, Coach K there now. We'll talk about that in a minute as well here. But Duke, oh, you know what? The tournament challenge. Actually, we've got a unique situation here with our contest. Speaking of people winning tournaments and brackets, we're going to get into all of that here, you guys. We'll have Jeff Gorman on. Talk a little bit about the Browns. There's a little Browns rumorage in the news later on in the show. Little Cavs monsters, Trey Lewis. Talked last week about him potentially leaving CSU. Potential realized. We'll talk about his destination. So much more, as I said. Going to crack the phones, talk to you guys. Let us roll here with today's Sports Fix. Welcome in, you guys. I'm your host, the Big Daddy on the microphone, J-Rocc. Jerry Myers here each and every weekday live at noon throughout the Sports Fix Radio Network each and every time we do this. Whether you're listening on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide, on Spreaker, on Mixler, as you can tell, by the way, with all the sportage and events and stuff yesterday, I was nonstop talking. From the time we were on the air yesterday to doing some behind-the-scenes voiceovers to during the games and sports conversations with all kinds of different people and on top of that, working out yesterday. I've got nothing left in the vocal cords, but we're gonna rock with it as long as you can deal with it. I can too as well. Welcome in, you guys, whether you're listening, as I said, on TuneIn's radio app, on Spreaker and Mixler, their respective digital and mobile apps, on our website that streams live each and every day, thesportsfix.net. You don't even have to click a button. So remember, if anytime any of the sites that you listen, it doesn't have the show, maybe something went wrong, iHeartRadio, all these places that have different feeds, occasionally technology goes wrong. Sometimes it's a whole 24 hours before a show might get uploaded. And if you don't want to wait, or if you have problems, or if you can't listen live, thesportsfix.net is always your bailout. The show is live every day, streams right from there, links to all of our sites to get replays from, social media, all of that right there. So bookmark it, thesportsfix.net. As well, welcome in all of you, as we say every day, that listen around the world, the thousands of you and growing, on digital delay around time zones and countries everywhere, on sites like iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio and SoundCloud and all of the places that you download, subscribe, feed, however you get your fix. Thank you guys so much for doing it. Be a part of the show. I see the phones ringing. I've $1 to donuts. It's my man Bruce here because he told me he was calling into the show. 216-539-7535. Get your fix, baby. Let me know what you're thinking today about the Indians. Well, that sounded real educated there. I was thinking one thing and said something else. But let me know what you're thinking. 216-539-7535. Can't get to the phone. Streaming us live on your phone like so many of you do. Facebook and Twitter is the place to be. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. Facebook.com/thesportsfix, or just search for the Sports Fix on Facebook. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. And you know what? I don't know. Should I go right to the phone lines here? Well, a little bit real quick. Talking about the NCAA tournament last night. Let me start there. Then we'll segue over into some baseball. Talk a little Indians here. Duke gets the win last night. Beats Wisconsin. And I'll tell you what, you got to give credit. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Duke, and I understand that. And some people say they get the luxury of the calls. And I know there's some controversy. But at the same time, Wisconsin had a 9-point lead. They were looking to turn it over into double digits. They had that game. They had the opportunity to salt things away, and Duke wouldn't go away. And, you know, give credit to them, man. And that's a bunch of freshmen that kept coming up for Duke there, man. I mean, really, you saw a lot of growth in a short period of time. We talked about yesterday with Dan Wismar defensively, Duke, what they had done in this series. I mean, here, 55 points on average allowed throughout the tournament. One of the best defensive performances. Another one last night, 63 points given up there, as Duke gets the win 68-63. And you know what? Fitting, too. A tie first half. We're sitting there at halftime, and I'm like, you know, this is fitting, the way this tournament has gone, the way these two teams have gotten here. And really, Duke, I thought, even though they went into the half tied, I thought Duke survived. There was foul trouble, Okafor, there were issues there. I thought they were able to play it to a draw there and survive a tough period. And then as you saw down the stretch, they made those plays. I mean, really, it was just one play after another. You're watching Tyus Jones down there just do his thing and on his way to being player of the Final Four. He saw Okafor. Like I said, he was big defensively when needed, even if Comiskey was having his way with him in most of that game there. And, I mean, really, what a game it was. Just what a game it was, and what a flip-flop when you saw, like I said, Wisconsin's got a 9-point lead at one time. Next thing you know, Duke flips it around. They're up 8 with a minute and a half, minute and 20 seconds left, something like that. And you're thinking, okay, now this is where Duke goes ahead, puts this thing away. But Wisconsin wasn't going. I'm watching it with a couple of guys, and literally, boom, boom. You go, hey, look at this. It's a 5-point game. It's a 3-point game. You know what I mean? And there you go again, one of those great ones. And it was like that too when Duke played there back a couple of years ago against Butler. And just a great game, though. Anyways, a great performance by both teams. I thought, watching it, I said, this is college basketball here. This is so many good stories on the court all at once. And again, I know a lot of people hate on Duke. I mean, whatever. They're not, I don't have any emotional attachment. I mean, I got a ton of respect for anybody that's great. Greatness is something I love in any sport. And Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, 5 rings. He is second all time behind only the great John Wooden, who they happen to name the award after there. And, you may have heard of him a time or two, the Wizard of Westwood. Coach K right up there, and deservedly so. I mean, and you know what? Hey, I know these guys, whether you're talking about Coach K, Dean Smith, all of them, they get the best players. I understand that, but still. Only one every year gets them together and makes this happen, and only some of them have a larger collection of rings than others. I just thought it was a great tournament, capped off by an excellent championship game, and either team winning this, I thought it was a good ending and a good story. I mean, you know what? I was pulling for Wisconsin. I was talking to the guys I was watching the game with. I said, we talked about this on the show today, and you kind of got the Big Ten thing going, and it's like, you know what? I'd like to see them do it. And really, when they were pulling away, I said, man, Wisconsin's going to win this thing, and that's what did it. As soon as I said that, of course it was over for Wisconsin. The game just started to turn around from that point there. But anyways, and you know what? I will say this. I will end this full circle by saying, as terrible as I am at projecting college basketball in the bracket and how bad it was, I was one of only 9% of 12 million people in the tournament challenge who picked Duke to win the whole thing. That was my saving grace, and it literally salvaged my tournament. I ended up 9th in our tournament challenge here this year, and I'm good with that. 9th, I was in last place for the whole middle weekend. I'm totally good with finishing in the top 10. Second year in a row that the final weekend pushed me into a very undeserved spot in the top 10. Only 5 of the 50 people in our tournament challenge picked Duke to win this thing. Now check this out. We had, of course, the tournament challenge we had going on here with the Sports Fix. A Cleveland prize pack up for the winner of this thing. A couple of copies of Vince McKee's latest books, Cleveland's Finest, and LeBron James' Redemption of the King, and a few other goodies mixed in. Because of Duke's victory, we ended up with a tie for first place. We ended up with a 2-way tie here between two people with 1,410 points. Both guys selected Duke to win the tournament here overall. And so what I did is I went in and I looked at the brackets and I found the tiebreaker scores. If you remember, when you fill out a bracket, those of you that were in with us, you had to pick the score of the winning game. So I went and looked at the tiebreaker score, and I'll tell you what, the winning score here was dead on. The winner here, Knowles 3490, and I don't even have a real name. This is the name that I've got here, Knowles 3490. Technically will be the winner of our tournament, because when he predicted the score of the national championship game, his predicted score was 67-62 with Duke on top. Final score in real life was 68-63. He was off by just 1 point in each direction. That's actually scary, even though it was just a random prediction made at the very beginning of the tournament. But still, to come within 1 point in each way of the final score of the championship game, good stuff. So due to that, that's the tiebreaker, and that is going to make our winner Knowles here. And again, I don't have a actual name here. This is the screen name on the tournament challenge, and the best part is his secondary name is Cleveland Prize Pack, which is what he wins for winning this thing. So if you're listening out there, hit us up, send me an email. I'll get with you and I'll get you your Cleveland Prize Pack. The Bourbon Ghost also tied for first place. Congratulations to him. Great job there. But he's going to lose on the tiebreaker because he predicted a larger margin there. Cleveland Prize Pack. Knowles 3490 nailed it within 2 points. You are the winner. Congratulations on the tournament challenge. Looking at the rest of the top 10 here. Vanilla Gorilla, good job, finished third. Rajat the Beast. Adam Spear, my man Adam Spear, finished in fourth place, but he was in not only first place for the entire tournament, but he was in the top percentage of the country. He was right there for most of it, and Kentucky wiped him out at the end. He finished in fourth place. Congratulations as well to Malik Omar, Keith Young, Mike Brandenberry finished in 10th place, and I finished in 9th place as well. Congrats to the rest of you who finished, everybody who entered, and it was a lot of fun as always. Thank you guys, and I look forward to seeing you again, not just next year at tournament time, but what's our next? Well, probably be fantasy football season again. Those are probably the two biggest ones that we do every year with most of the same group of listeners. Thanks guys, hats off, a lot of fun. And Knowles 3490, reach out to me, hit me up so that I can, I'll get you on the air and let you talk for a little bit here and congratulate you and get you your Cleveland Prize Pack because you are the winner of the 2015 Sports Fix Tournament Challenge. And the brackets are done. We don't have to hear the word bracket again for about another 10 months. Well, no, you'll start hearing it again in about 8-9 months. But still, you don't have to fill one out for a while again, and we're done. We're moving on. It's baseball season. Speaking of Indians, baby, you know what? I know who's on the phone, man. I'm going to go to the phones here for just a minute because we're going to switch over, talk a little baseball as the Indians kick off the season. And what a great game yesterday. I know the sky's falling because the Indians didn't score and all of that stuff. But, man, what a great game. What a great pitcher's duel. Corey Kluber out there. Dallas Keuchel on the other side, who, by the way, is the owner of just one of those really cool names in Major League Baseball. You know, some people just got cool sports names. But, man, that kid was dealing. And, I get it. The left-handed thing was definitely a part of it as well. But people act like, by the way, that's the biggest thing. People talk about the Achilles heel, and of course it is an issue. You want to get a little more balance in that lineup, no doubt about it, for the Indians. But last year, 50 games against lefties, they started 25 and 25. They played 50-50 ball. So it's not like, they had this incredibly terrible record, although, as we know, they can get neutralized. We saw that yesterday. But that being said, it was an excellent, excellent game to start the season. There's 161 more of them to go. Hopefully the Indians won't average 0 runs a game for the rest of the season. I'm pretty sure that they won't. Defensively, the Indians, I thought, hey, you know what? We're 24 outs into this thing, and we haven't booted any ground balls yet. We're ahead of the game there. I'm with it, really. And so you're not going to get a big old ranting and raving. Come on, man. It's the opening game of the season. I'm happy baseball's here. Mad that we've got to wait another day before Game 2 gets here. We'll talk specifics about the game with Jeff Gorman here in just a few minutes, but I'm going to talk with you. Caller, you are up first on the Sports Fix.
Yeah, good morning, J-Rocc.
Hey, that's my man, Bruce. Yeah, you sound about as good as I do here this morning, man.
I watched 5 baseball games yesterday and a half a basketball game, so
there you go, man.
Burnt out myself.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Where are you at, man? Feeling good? I mean, look, man, baseball's on. I know where you're going to go because I know you're hot about something. You were sending me a message before the show. Is it really? I know that you're prone to tiny bit of exaggeration from time to time when you get mad. Are they really saying ridiculous things like, will the Indians score this season already? Is this really what's going on?
Channel 3 this morning when I woke up. The first thing I heard was the Tribe was shut out and And the question was asked, is this going to be the norm for Kluber every time he pitches that they scuffle for runs?
Here we go, baby.
So then I turned on social media, of course, and I got 14 texts in a row there about, hey, how's come the Tribe didn't score? I have any idea.
You know what? Let me jump in there real quick. Let me jump in there, Bruce, because that's something I did make a comment last night across our social media, and I was reminded. And look, guys, don't take this the wrong way, because I love interacting with you guys. But I had to explain last year why I cannot. You guys can't. I don't. People go, hey, where are you? I'm never on, especially Twitter, during the games. And there's a reason for that. I used to do it all the time. I thought, okay, this is part of what comes with doing what we do, talking to people and getting involved in the conversation. I've made this statement before. I use the phrase Indians Twitter because that's what they call themselves, and it's not everybody. There are of course there's some good fans out there on Twitter, some great conversations, but literally from the second inning on yesterday, I'm seeing tweet after tweet about, hey, here's another guy that can't hit the ball. Hey, here's another strikeout. Boy, this is going to be a great season. I'm like, it's the third inning of the first game, and it beats you over the head to where I don't understand how many of these people are actually enjoying the game that they're watching, because all they're doing is bashing every second of everything that they're watching. It's the most unenjoyable, unpleasant way to watch a game. I don't understand why people subject themselves to it, so I won't do it. I was very quickly reminded last night that I don't go on my Twitter, and I don't even mess around during the game. I automate my posts so that I don't even have to go on there. I've got a machine doing it for me, because it's just going to make me frustrated. Look, I get it. Every once in a while, I may even say the same thing in the room, but do you really have to sit there after every pitch and go, boy, could we watch another pitch go by? Boy, could we keep the bet on our shoulder for another pitch? How about we just watch the damn game and enjoy some baseball?
How about, can Rayburn hit the ball further than 40 feet?
I mean, hey, look, I'm not a big Brian Rayburn fan anyway, but I mean, I'm just saying, in general, I don't like that. I know that's the thing, and some people think that's the wave of the I don't. Just because you have a platform doesn't mean you need to use it every 10 seconds. And that's the frequency, too, man. I'm like, there's literally people that think that you want to hear every single thought on every single I mean, I don't. Maybe
here's the thing that gets me. Most of the people, you can tell by the way that they're writing their tweets or how they answer on social media that they're young.
Hey, brother, this is the reason why we rebuilt the stadium here, because we've got to create large areas for people to stand around and talk to each other on Twitter. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm with it. I get the advances that come with it. I'm not trying to be, hey, look, man, I'm in my mid-30s.
My first thought is always, did these people know we actually had a team before 1995?
Well,
I mean, we had uniforms and everything,
But it just, I don't want to go crazy negative, but I know exactly where you're coming from, because I get frustrated about the same things, Bruce. I really do. Like, I totally know where you're coming from.
And, you hate to get on there and start arguing with these people, because it just, makes me old before my time, which I'm already old, so it doesn't really matter. But, the thing of it is that, they just, I don't want to call it nitpicking, but they go totally off of what's happening. I mean, that was a perfect pitcher's duel last night.
Oh, it really was, And I'm telling you, I think guys get so used to playing MLB The Show that they forget that's baseball, man. I mean, I know.
I actually said that to a guy last night. Why don't you go back to your Xbox and play 10-9 games?
I mean, I don't mind that either. Trust me, there's times that I don't mind watching those games either, and it's whatever. But I was watching that game yesterday.
Though. I mean,
yeah, yesterday. Plus, we're early in the season, and I know somebody right now will go pull up the scores and go, well, that didn't stop this guy from scoring 8 runs. The Red Sox and Colorado scored 10. But look at the scoreboards yesterday. Look at how many teams put up goose eggs, how many put up 1-run games. Look what Sonny Gray did, flirting with the no-hitter. And offensively,
and you also have to remember that the pitchers are the 2 aces of the staff.
Well, absolutely, and that's what I was saying. Offensively, earlier in the season, I think everything tends to lean towards the pitchers. pitchers anyway because they're more ramped up, you know. But I mean, I'm not making an excuse. I'm not sitting here saying this is what happened. I mean, just in general, it was a good game, well pitched, very small margin of error, and unfortunately the Indians came out on the wrong side of it. I'm not gonna go crazy. And like I said, even with the lefty thing, I mean, obviously you wish there was another right-handed power bat in there, and there's a long time and a long season left for them to maybe have that, you know. Don't forget, there's still, I'm not gonna say Nick Swisher's a savior or anything, but there's Swisher and there's Walters, and there are some switch hitting guys that can get mixed into this lineup hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you know what I mean? So all is not dead in day one, guys. Relax.
No, like I mean, the season doesn't end on day one.
I swear it doesn't, man. I swear. Sometimes it doesn't even end on day 162. So you just got to relax and go for it. But I thought it was a good game, and I thought, around baseball, brought up that Sonny Graham. He went into with the 8th inning with that no-hitter there. You know, shades of Bob Feller. Matter of fact, he ended up with the one-hitter, right? And it was the first time anybody did that on opening day since I think it was Bob Lemon, right?
That would be correct.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lemon was the last one.
Yeah, I'm like, man, there's some Indians nostalgia all in the air there. I mean, Corey Kluber, and you know what? It never fails, by the way. The curse. My son learned a valuable lesson, and I apologize to Indians fans. I'll go ahead and take the blame for this one. My son learned that you keep your mouth shut when there's a no-hitter going on, because right as the 6th inning starts, you know, he said something. I looked at the screen, and I said, boy, Corey Kluber's got a no-hitter going. Sure can't say that out loud. Well, my son didn't know that rule. My son doesn't know that rule. He goes, hey, Dad, man, Kluber's got a no-hitter going. 2 batters later, there goes the no-hitter, and I'm like, doggone it, Jerry, you just did it, man. He's like, what? I said, you don't say it, man. You don't say it. You just got to look at the screen and go, I can't say anything. But anyway, so
he had to walk before that on that close
on the perfect game.
Pitch.
Yeah, so he had the no perfect game going, but still. But yeah, I told him, I said, there you go, Jerry. I said, you did it, man. I'm going to tell everybody tomorrow this is all your fault. But
well, it was fun to watch. I mean, Kluber kept the ball down. He did everything he had to do, you know. You know, the guy that got the hit was, you know, he had almost, 200 hits last year, over 200 hits last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Altuve. And then he stole the base, and a single brought him home. I mean, that happens, 900,000 times a season, you know?
I'll tell you what, I thought Brantley had a shot at him, to be honest with you. I was a little surprised that they cut it off and went and they did get the out to end the inning and the rundown, but I was a little surprised because I thought Brantley might have had a shot at
I thought the throw was way offline.
Well, it was. No, it was. But, I mean, had there been a better throw, he definitely had a shot because
that was not your Brantley-type throw to the plate.
Yeah, for sure. It was, and that's probably why he cut it off. And at least they were able to salvage the rundown and get the out there. But yeah, I agree. Same thing. Usually you saw how many assists he had from the outfield last year. Usually he's got that arm, you know.
But if Carrasco can give us anything near that tomorrow night, I'll take this pitching. With the 1 or 2 run games. I'd rather lose them. I'd rather win them, but, if you're going to lose, that was an excellent game to watch.
I agree. And I'm not going to sit here and settle for a 1 or 2 run offense yet either. It's one game, Bruce. I think this offense is going to be all right, man.
I do too.
They're not the murderer's row, but they're not going to get blanked every day of the season either, man. And they're not going to be as inconsistent as last year, but, anyways, you can't tell.
No, what I was trying to say was if we can keep our earned run average under 3.
Yes. No. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Exactly.
I'll take that kind of pitching any night.
For sure. I'll gladly take a whole season of what we saw last night from Corey Kluber. If that's the case, he'll be in the hunt for another Cy Young, and the Indians will be in the hunt for the playoffs for sure.
Without a doubt.
Okay, I'll tell you what. You get a whole season of what you saw yesterday from Corey Kluber. $38.5 million looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. You know what I mean?
You can't complain a bit. It's almost like stealing the money.
So I'm and just going back to that because you and I were talking a little bit about that yesterday. Listening to him talk about, and Dan said this a lot, listening to him actually talk about how important it was to stay here in Cleveland and to guarantee that. And I thought, man, not just saying, hey, I like Cleveland and all that, but not a lot of people are that definitive. Like, I wanted to make sure that I stay in Cleveland, and this was the best I could guarantee that. And I'm like, man, hey, a good way to endear yourself to the fan base, because that's not a lot of people will be that hefty. And he was. He said, that's why I did it. I want to be here, and I want to be here for good.
I believe I asked you that yesterday, if you had heard that he said, I want to stay in Cleveland. I talked it over with my wife, and this is where we want to be.
Absolutely.
When was the last time we heard somebody say that? We heard
Bernie
Switzer
Kosar,
say,
baby.
I wanted to be in Cleveland because Tito's a great manager, but you never actually hear a player say, look, this is where I want to spend my career.
Yep. And it works out, man. It works out well, and Indians fans can relax. I'm telling you, that's money well spent for the Indians. I'm still holding hope that Carrasco makes his part a really good value, but those are good deals for the Indians. Bruce, my man, great call, man, and we unfortunately got to go dark today, and then we get another game tomorrow.
Yep. Well, I deserve a day off after yesterday. I watched 5 games, and so I got to have a break today.
Oh, I'm with you, man. Enjoy your day off. We'll get back at it tomorrow. Indians, Cavs will be playing tomorrow. Hey, Monsters fans. Monsters are playing tonight, though. I know that's not your thing, Bruce, but there you go. Bruce, have a good one, my man, and we'll talk again, I'm sure, pretty soon.
All right. Thank you, J-Rocc.
All right, you got it. My man, Bruce, you guys, I'll open up the phone lines again here in a little bit. I'm going to get Jeff Gorman on the phones here from Indians101.com, and we're going to talk a little bit about a lot of things here. Now, we'll talk his thoughts on the Indians and their opener yesterday, and looking forward to having Jeff Gorman here on the show momentarily. I'll crack the phones back open for you guys in a little bit. Sit tight, everybody. When we come back, plenty more Sports Fix still to come. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Sports Fix.
I'm ready to play today. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. Look at me, gotta be Santa Field. Yeah.
This is the Sports Fix.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Hey, call me Mr. Pig!
We'll call you whatever you like, as long as we can call you a fan of the Sports Fix.
The wait is finally over, guys. Baseball season is here at last, and the excitement continues all season long. Here we go again at DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of Major League Baseball. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments, just instant cash, instant gratification. Why wait until the end of the season to claim victory when you can win huge cash every day? At DraftKings, it's like a brand new season every time you play. Just select 2 pitchers and 8 position players, stay under your salary cap, and you could be on your way to an enormous payday. Last year, Peter from Colorado won $1 million at DraftKings in one day just playing fantasy baseball. Hundreds of thousands of fantasy sports fans, just like you and I, have already cashed in at DraftKings. Now it's your turn, baby. Hurry to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code SPREAKER to play for free. You could win part of the $300 million. Yes, I said $300 million in prizes being awarded this baseball season. Use promo code SPREAKER for free entry now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Sports Fix listeners, like us on Facebook today. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. No football? No problem at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. From their awesome Wing Mondays to every single Cavaliers and Buckeye Hoops games in full HD, the excitement never stops. Every day of the week brings a different set of food and amazing drink specials. Fight fans, Harry Buffalo North Olmsted is the home for every UFC pay-per-view live on the big screens. And let's not forget their mouth-watering trademark, the Bison Burger. Nobody does bison like Harry Buffalo. The perfect combination of healthy and delicious. What are you waiting for? Get to Harry Buffalo, just outside Great Northern Mall today. Harry Buffalo. Join the herd.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Fantasy sports lovers, you put so much time, hard work, and effort into playing week to week that it quickly stops being a fantasy and starts getting real. And when the smoke clears, you want to show off those victories with a real prize.
I mean, a really real prize.
Nobody does that like Fantasy Jocks. The crew over at Fantasy Jocks have beautiful, high-quality, and heavy-duty championship belts, rings, trophies, and so much more for all your fantasy sports needs. There's literally only one place to go. FantasyJocks.com.
Hi, this is Jim Rosenhaus, and you're listening to the Sports Fix.
Indian fever. It's catching fire with everyone.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, live across the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rocc back here, getting rolling into hour one. Still a ton of things to get into. Jeff Gorman, of course, from Indians101.com. He's going to join me here on the hotline momentarily. Thanks to Bruce for the phone call. We're going to open up the phones again here in just a little bit for you guys. Got kind of a free-form Tuesday here. Dr. Football normally with us, as we've let you know, going through some health issues. Keep Dr. Football in your thoughts. Not going to be able to be with us here today, but that's okay. We're going to be able to crack the phones and talk to you guys. So, hey, there's a silver lining in everything. Jeff's with us here in just a minute. You guys can keep the conversation rolling on Facebook and Twitter, baby. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. And you know what? It's been a while since I've done this. Those of you guys out there listening to the show, if you want to do us a favor, if you enjoy what you're listening to right now, it doesn't matter if you're listening live, if you're listening on demand, on digital delay, share the show that you're listening to right now on your format, whatever it is. They all have a little link button where you click it and you share it. Send out the show to somebody right now. Bring in a new set of ears to what we're doing. That's how we've kept this thing growing for, 6 years now, man. The matter of fact, the birthday of the Sports Fix is coming up. I believe somebody was pointing it out to me the other day. We're within a month, I think, of the next anniversary of the Sports Fix. Unbelievable. This thing's been going since May of 2009, I believe. Yeah, May of 2009 is when those guys kicked off the Sports Fix, and this will be the sixth full year here of the Sports Fix coming up next month. But anyways, that's still a ways away here. Getting back into it again, Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the Sports Fix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. I did that off the top of my head. I don't even know if that's right. It may have even been 2008. I may be 1 year short on that. Either way, it's been a while, and we're still going, man. Still going strong. Indians, guess what? They're still going, too. They 161 games left to play. So the only thing that's out of play right now is the elusive perfect season. Doggone it, I was hoping to see history, but I guess we'll have to scratch that one. Pick up there. Let's get my man Jeff Gorman in on the conversation. Jeff, of course, writes for Indians101.com. He's here every Tuesday on The Fix. Jeff, my man, how you doing? It's baseball season. Our first baseball season conversation that's legit. What's up?
Well, you just answered my question, J-Rocc. I'm doing fantastic because it's baseball season. It really counts. And the only thing that could make things better would be if there was another game tonight. But it's not, even though they've got a roof. They could put the lid on the Minute Maid jug, but they kept that date open for really no good reason, so we have to wait until tomorrow for another game.
You know, what's up with that? You know, really, I mean, you spend all those months like baseball. Come on, it's a long enough season, right? You get people fired up and cranked up, and then you got to go one game, and then you get the day off. It's like, really, man? But then again, baseball season's a whole lot of hurry up and wait anyway. So patience is a virtue, my friends. But yeah, I'm with you. Just because you're off and running, you're like, come on, man, let's get it going. But soon enough, it'll be one after another. You know, this season gets off and running here. So what were your thoughts? I mean, obviously, I mentioned it earlier. It kind of speaks for itself. The fantastic pitching matchup that we saw yesterday. By the way, before we even talk about the game, my man Dallas Keuchel there. Do you agree with me? One of the better names in Major League Baseball, man. Like I'm a fan of names. I'm a name guy. I like people that have those cool names. You know, Vita Blue and World Be Free. You know, Raleigh Fingers. You know, just some people have names that just feel like they should be a baseball player. And I think Dallas Keuchel sounds like a baseball name, man. It's one of those unique ones.
It certainly is. He's going to go right in there with, Kurt Bavacqua and Biff Takaroba and all those other great names of the past.
Man. Those are great, but I mean, you know what I mean. Some guy, Butch. Some guys just have that name that fits, and you're like, yeah, he looks like a bitch. Butch, excuse me. Oh, wow, there's a Freudian slip. Actually, I've got no problem with anybody named Butch, but you know what I'm saying. That was actually just a complete Freudian slip. Maybe I'm mad that he beat us last night, but he looks like a Dallas, man. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Spikes, exactly, Bruce in the chat room, man. So
yes.
You know where I'm coming
Can
from.
I get an FP Santangelo out there?
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So There we go. As we're insulting people, first thing, off and running here on the Sports Fix, man. But anyways, what were your thoughts yesterday watching that one?
Well, it was, too bad to see the Indians get shut down as they did. I have to admit, I really wasn't very familiar with Dallas Keuchel going into this game. I didn't realize what a good season he had last year. Anytime you can post a winning season for the Astros, you must be doing something right.
He's fantastic, isn't he? He's an excellent young pitcher. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Right, and the best thing was, Corey Kluber went out there. He had a no-hitter going into the sixth inning. So even though he lost and we lost, it's not like Kluber went out there and gave up 6 runs in the first 2 innings and they think, now we have problems. No, he pitched great. He just got out-dueled, which is going to happen over time. But, the good thing is that Kluber went out there and he pitched like Corey Kluber. So even though we lost that first game, I think that and the fact that, we've got him for the next 5 years, that's incredibly good news. I think that, that's what I wrote about today for Indians 101. It's like, let's not be upset about the first game. Let's be happy that we've got our ace for the next 5 years, because how often have we been able to lock down our ace as opposed to watching him go off someplace else?
And you and I will get into that in a minute, because that's definitely part of the conversation I want to have with you. But talking about just that and looking at how he attacked that game last night, you listened to Yanni Gomes afterwards, and it was something that I was talking about even during the spring when he was only in 3/4 speed and he was tinkering with some stuff. I said, man, I see something in the little bit, the half speed effort that you're seeing from Corey Kluber. I said, man, I think he's going to hit the ground like right off the bat, looking just like he did last year. But you don't know how much of that is hopeful optimism with the spring. That's the first thing Yan Gomes said after that game is he goes, man, it's like it was the end of last season all over again. Like he was, boom, just hitting his spots and crossing guys up and really doing his thing right off the bat. That's a good sign there. And I wanted to see that too, because remember last year when Yan Gomes signed his contract, a lot of people, myself primarily, pointed to that as part of the psychological problems with the slow start, with the defensive issues and the hitting early on last year for Yanni when he had that first real contract and responsibility. I mean, it's such a whirlwind for him to go from, where he was to that commitment right away. And, first chance out there with Corey Kluber with this big life-changing, life-altering contract that he just went into, you are interested as a person, as an athlete. How does he go out there? Does anything change? Absolutely nothing changes, and he was right out there right off the bat. That's a good sign to start the season, but especially with the news, the contract, the all the focus. It's easy to be distracted, and the first game could have been rough, and you could easily chalk it up to that. But you're not going to shake Corey Kluber. It's one of the reasons the Indians weren't afraid to make the investment that they did.
Right, and that's a good thing why they call him the Clue Bot. You know, he's like a robot. He comes out there and he's just like a machine, and he keeps going. And that's not always the best thing to be compared to a robot, but in this case, it's good because he's not going to run into those psychological problems. You know, Nick Swisher had those problems as well. You know, you come out there, you got all these millions of dollars attached to your name, and you feel like you have to go right out there and earn all those millions right off the bat and be like really one of the best players in the entire league. Well, you just have to get over that hump and realize that, you know, this is baseball. You know, you're not out there like, you know, LeBron James or Michael Jordan where you're trying to win the whole thing yourself. You've got other guys on your team that are essential, that they're also making many millions of dollars. You're part of an overall group effort here, and it's great that, you know, Kluber didn't fall into that trap at all, and he was able to keep things together psychologically. And if we were up against, you know, any pitcher who was, you know, really not as dominant as Keuchel was yesterday, you know, we'd be talking about Kluber's first win, and, you know, he really pitched great. And I think that's, you know, really giving us a lot of good hope for the future, you know, that maybe, you know, with the entire context of all this, that, you know, this team really does seem to be heading in the right direction. I'm about as optimistic as I could possibly be, despite a loss in the opening game.
I'll tell you what, while you're looking for gems of optimism in yesterday's 2-0 loss to Houston to open the season, how about this? We are 24, because they didn't have to defensively play the ninth inning. We're 24 outs into the 2015 championship season, and we haven't committed an error yet. I mean, at least through one game. I know Mike Brandenberry sent me that this morning in a text, and I was laughing. I said, hey, they didn't want to peak too early yesterday. That's all it was, man. They're warming up for the season. They didn't want to put it all out there in game one offensively. But defensively, you know, one game is one game, but you didn't see any alarming first day things where you go, ooh, is this going to be a thing all season long? You know, not to sound like one of those guys, but at least all they can talk about is the hitting today. Nobody's going, well, we can't hit the ball and we can't field it either. So there is that there. But no, that was a good thing to look for. And I mean, really, as you pointed out, I think a lot of people could fall right into the category of how you described Dallas Keuchel, not even realizing. I mean, he's hidden away in Houston, and as we know, they've been the bane of existence the last couple of seasons over there. But easy for people to feel exactly like you said. I didn't know this guy was that good until you saw it firsthand, and he definitely went out there. And being lefty didn't hurt, as we mentioned. We know that the Indians have a weakness there, although I was surprised when I saw the stat that as bad as as it is, and as bad as it sounds when you look back and go, boy, the Indians just really struggle, they still were 25-25 in 50 games started by lefties last year. Again, of course you want to play better, but that's still .500 ball. I'm not saying that that's not an issue, but A, it's a limited issue, and B, you're never going to change it as long as the Indians are convinced that when they play at home, that's to their advantage.
Right, and that's a thing. You know, good teams eventually overcome these things. You know, they get a little bit better here and there, even though, you know, you're not going to turn that kind of a situation around overnight. You know, a good team like the Indians were last year, they did a very good job of winning the games that they were supposed to, winning home games, you know, beating up on right-handed pitchers, you know, getting as much of an advantage to your strength so that your weakness doesn't drag you down too much.
And that's where I'm at. To me, I look at that like when they say play 500 on the road. You know, play 500 on the road, win your games at home. Same thing there. Play 500. If you can play 500 or slightly better against your weakness, then you're good. You're gold, because then you take care of business in your strengths. Now that's the same way that I look at it. So we're kind of on the same page of things there. You know, off of yesterday's game specifically, you kind of mentioned it in there, talking about Kluber, the contracts there. Yesterday I talked a ton about it with different guys, but I look at it as an incredibly positive thing. I don't really see how an Indians fan can look at it with any kind of a negative slant. And by the way, you guys, I saw tons of feedback from you guys in the last 24 hours from yesterday's show about that. By the way, shout out to Jeff from Tacoma, Washington. He sent me a thing and was basically agreeing with a lot of the things. Oh, by the way, he also had never heard me talk about A-Rod before, and said, "Boy, you get a little passionate about the steroid thing." I said, "Hell yes, I do, brother." But anyways, I got a kick out of that. But again, going back to the Indians here as a whole, Corey Kluber, Carlos Carrasco, I think that's just the latest signing of putting together a core group of guys. I mean, to me, there is a middle ground, but it's not where you want the Indians to be. There's no fan that can look at what they've done in the last, and even if you want to say Swisher and Bourne, and I don't. Of course, I don't love the Nick Swisher signing. I'm not the most anti Michael Bourne guy. They put a truckload of money into that, but that also was the first step into the well. And I gotta say this, that if anything, that convinced the Indians to do what they've done since, which is lock up the young guys as well, because I think they realized we paid a lot of money for these two guys to get the fan base to wake up and say, hey, the Indians are finally spending a little bit of money here. But it didn't pay off as big as the Indians hoped, but that was the best you could do in that situation. So I think it woke them up to look at not woke them up, I think the front office knew, but to go, hey, look, guys, we've got to identify and lock them up. And they've done a good job in the last 2 years of finding that core group with Kipnis and Gomes and Santana, and here comes the pitching now, and you've got a whole base to build this team around. It doesn't guarantee success, but in this environment of big market and small market, it guarantees that your window is open for a 4 or 5 year run, and then it's whichever teams are fortunate enough to be able to finish the job. But that's the only way you can have more than one good season and then take a step back. As we mentioned yesterday, it's like signing a Scotty Kazmir type guy that's going to help you for 1 year and then he's going somewhere else anyway. These guys are going to help you for multiple years, and now you can sprinkle in your Kazmirs, you can sprinkle in other guys around them, and hopefully win one or two or potentially a group of titles in that window.
Right. The important thing is that this is the right way to build a team. You're not going to always hit on 100% of everybody you pick, but this is how you're supposed to do it. Identify the young guys that are coming up, and you know that these guys are good players, and, lock those guys up. And then, people, like you said, if you can get someone like Bourne or someone from, on free agent market, identify the people, whether they're your own or whether they're free agents, and get them in here and get them locked up for the long term. And then you get a team that's going to play together, not just be a band of mercenaries that are coming in and out, and they have played together for the last 2 years and now going into this third year. And, the proof somewhat is on this table. They've had winning seasons the last 2 years. They made the playoffs. They barely missed the playoffs. Now they definitely have a chance again. So, and I just think the fact that, pitching-wise, to be able to lock up Kluber, of course, and then it sounds like they're about to do the very same thing with Carrasco. Absolutely. Is, you're gonna get these guys locked in, and when you talk about starting pitching, that's really an even more rare commodity because it's something that everybody wants. It's somebody that everybody overpays for, and it seems like the Indians are really going to possibly underpay for both of these guys for the years and the amount of time and the amount of potential, success they could bring you. They're not paying, $12, $15 million a year for these guys, and they could get that same kind of success. So, and if you can get those two locked in, and then, in future years, you're talking about, well, who could we possibly throw in as, well, like they tried to do with Gavin Floyd this year. Maybe throw him in as number 3 or number 4, but you've got those top 2 spots locked up, and that just really makes everything move forward.
Especially when you look at the market value for other guys like you bring up yesterday, Dan Wismar points. I mean, really, you look no further than 2 years, back-to-back Cy Young Award winners. Each one signed a multi-year contract. Look at the difference. The Max Scherzer deal, 7 years, $210 million. The back end years of that deal's $30+ million a year. The Kluber deal, the 5 years is for $38.5 million. The two really big option years, which still, they're not going to be big by the time 5 years from now rolls around. A $17 million, assuming that he is, of course, because he would have to be at that level for the Indians to exercise that option. But you've got to think, with the escalating rates of what these guys are, use the Scherzer deal as an example. 5 years from now, those two option years, when you're paying $17 million for Corey Kluber, on the free market, he's probably worth 30 plus 34. Yeah. He's probably worth double that at minimum 5 years from now. Now, of course, the back end is if he doesn't stay at that end, and we brought that up yesterday, you're still paying just average starter money for a guy. So unless he becomes below average, same with Carrasco, as long as they stay average or better, the Indians still got a relatively good deal out of things. When you look at it down the road, it gives you cost certainty. It also shows other guys, young guys, that you're going to commit. All of those things are cohesive and part of building what the Indians are trying to build, man. So I'm with it. And I couldn't understand anybody that had an issue with it. And again, I also love, right there, I was going to bring that up. Bruce just hit it in the chat room. Look at the Porcello deal today with the Red Sox. 4-year extension, over $80 million. So, Rick Porcello, I mean, that's okay. I'm not trying to, he's a good guy, but look at that deal there. And again, when you look at the comparability and you see where it ended up for the Indians, it proves one thing. Corey Kluber really wants to play in Cleveland because he definitely, even on a team-friendly deal, he could have got more money than he got. Clearly, looking at these deals that other guys are out here getting, he could have maneuvered for more money or waited another year and really had the hammer. If he waited just one more year, what do you think? I think if he waited one more year, he could have got an extra $15 million plus out of the Indians on the total of that contract, assuming that he has a year relatively close to what he did last year.
Oh, definitely. And I think that really, of course it works out for Kluber to be, locked up for 5 years, but it really worked out financially for the Indians. That was a very team-friendly deal. And so I think everybody's happy. And, it's amazing when you think about where we were almost at this time last year, where the Indians didn't make a deal like this with Justin Masterson. We could have thrown all these years and millions at Justin Masterson, and we didn't. So we really kind of dodged the bullet there. Big time. And, it's a situation where, you talked about guys like Max Scherzer and the way the Nationals are loading up on starting pitching. And, if you can just get your team to the playoffs, everything kind of narrows down and you get your starting pitchers down to mostly just your top 3 starters. And if you can come in with, guys that can shut people down the way Keuchel did to us yesterday, you go strength on strength, and starting pitching becomes more important, and you can really do some damage if you can get 3 super strong starters. Of course, we saw how one guy, Madison Bumgarner, just completely turned the tide to bring the Giants to the championship.
Absolutely. And pitching is the premium. You can always find guys to rake the ball. Pitching is the premium there. And let me talk, while we talk a lot about Kluber yesterday. We talked a lot about Kluber too. Carrasco. Something I've been thinking a lot about when you see the steps that he's made recently and his evolvement, and is he going to go continue that here into this season? Mickey Callaway, rightfully so, gets a lot of credit for what he does. But look at the length of time that the Tribe's been working with Carrasco and stuff, and I think this will start getting talked about more as this season goes on, especially if he has success again this year. But I think one of the X factors to what changed when you go, what flipped that switch with Carrasco? Yes, Mickey Callaway had a lot to do with it, but I'm telling you, it's the promotion and emergence of Corey Kluber. Look at the rise of Carrasco, or the improvement track up from him. A lot of it follows the time that he's been watching and alongside of Corey Kluber here, as Kluber has made his run the last couple of seasons here up through the Indians rotation. So that's understated, I think, in a lot of ways. He's watched and talked. They become very good friends, and that combination of those two and Mickey Callaway together, I think, has made both of those pitchers better. But I think the X factor of his relationship with Kluber and really being able to see, first off, just watch him prior to him, watch him attack guys, and then he gets to come out there the next day. But I think that's an X factor there to the what people go, well, what turned it on? I think that was part of it. I think it's that relationship that he's developed with Kluber as well. I think they have both made each other better pitchers.
Right, and that's another great thing that an ace can do for you. Not just, come out there and give you a chance to win, and not just, stop losing streaks, but to be able to provide a good example for your peers as far as how you prepare between starts and how you attack hitters, attack the strike zone. Now, what would really be nice if the same thing could happen this year with another fireballer like Zach McAllister. If he could also turn the corner and become a lot more consistent and be able to attack hitters with that 90, then we could really have something on our hands. And considering how well he looked in preseason, hopefully he can keep things going and maybe another pleasant surprise for the Indians.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm with you, man. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com here, talking a little bit as we flip over into the top of the hour on the Sports Fix. We're talking Indians home opener here, and now the season rolls on, man, Jeff, and I'm with it. The whole baseball thing's going, even though the Indians don't play a full slate of games here. Baseball continuing on. Looking at some of those games yesterday, I mentioned that. I don't know if you got to see Sonny Gray. I'll tell you what, we saw him a couple of times last year, and you've seen the rise of him, man. That guy, that is a heck of a young pitcher there, man.
That's right. The A's, they come up with some diamonds in the rough. Playing out on the West Coast, sometimes we don't get to see a lot of them, and of course they're always getting rid of players with any kind of name recognition to make room for their new upstarts, which they're always doing. That's the way they do things out there. And this might be the year that people start to wake up and see what a top flight pitcher he is too.
I'm telling you, man, I said, boy, wouldn't it be something if this kid goes out here and does the Bob Feller, man, and he gave it a run. Well, he gave it a run yesterday for sure, but I was just curious if you had caught that there and looking around baseball. Anything surprise you yesterday? Man, I'll tell you what, couple of double-digit games. Kansas City just smacked around Chicago yesterday, 10-1. Kansas City's like, yeah, we're a fluke, huh? Okay, well, we're going to start the season with this little beat down here. It's all game one no matter what, but interesting. And got to see the old Dodgers on the new Padres against the new Dodgers. That was an interesting little game there, too. How about, speaking of A-Rod, I mentioned it yesterday, man. I'm sorry. I have to, I don't care if it is the stupid New York Bronx Zoo. How do you give a standing ovation to Alex Rodriguez, man? How? How do you do that and call yourself a baseball fan? How do you do that?
I don't understand that. It's just that, I think the Yankees and their fans, they're just starving for something to cheer for. They don't have their iconic Derek Jeter around anymore, so they're sort of bought into this whole A-Rod redemption story. They say, well, he's here, he's going to come out there and earn these millions whether we like him or not, and we might as well like him. But you ask, what really jumped out at me, how about the Colorado Rockies? I mean, you see them put a 10-0 win over the Brewers, and you're like, well, that's because they play in Colorado. No, it was in Milwaukee that they beat the Brewers up.
Yeah, bad start of the season for the Phillies. They got slapped around there. Boston off to a good start. It was a good slate of games there around baseball. A good one there with the Marlins and the Braves. Some good games, man. The other thing, too, I don't know if you noticed it. I saw this here this morning, and I said, man, I was going to bring this up. Looking at the the Indians, of course, started with a couple of guys, as I mentioned, Nick Swisher and Zach Walters on the disabled list, and Josh Tomlin, which, by the way, we haven't even, I have to apologize. We haven't even talked a lot about that since it happened because we were off for a few days last week. But, as much as Gavin Floyd hurt the depth as well. I mean, they're right at the end of spring training. And I was going to go into this, the Major League record this year. They had 115 players start the season on the disabled list, the most of all time. But, Josh Tomlin, that was one we haven't talked a lot about. Some people had already given up on him. I'm definitely not one of those people, but man, down goes another one. And very quickly that depth starts to get called into question for the pitching for the Indians starting off the season.
I know, you just have to keep stockpiling it, even though it seems like, maybe there's too much. And, we've talked about the maybe 8 or 9 guys that the Indians had coming into camp. And then, if you don't have Floyd, you don't have Tomlin, then that's it. And now you've got Chen and you've got Markham in case of an emergency right now. You just have to be, thankful from an Indian standpoint that it's not, your top 2 guys. And it just shows you how fragile it is and how you really have to have a multitude of depth in starting pitching just so you're not really scraping if 1 or 2 guys do go down.
Absolutely. And a lot of this also shows, too, teams' willingness now to be much more patient. I mean, obviously, starting that many players on the disabled list, it's not just an uptick in injuries, it's an uptick in guys not being ready to start the regular season, much like we saw with, Walters got hurt, but Swisher was not ready to start, and perhaps in a foregone era, guys would push on. Hey, we saw Swisher try to push on with injuries. He goes, I learned that playing hurt, it's not where it's at, but it shows a trend there around baseball to err on the side of caution early on in what's such a long season, especially as the back end of it, more playoffs got added, it gets longer, the season's now longer than ever, so it's much more conducive for a team to have a guy miss the first 15 or 30 days of the season or whatever and have him at the back end where they theoretically need him much more.
Right, and the important thing is when someone's out there, you've got the best version of him that you can, because we saw what happened with Jason Kipnis trying to play through those injuries, and he just wasn't himself. And maybe people are starting to realize that, look, we've got other talent here. We've got to keep this guy out until he can be there and be the guy that he's supposed to be. Like we talk about, Michael Bourne. Michael Bourne's got to have those legs all healed up and just be ready to run around there, and that's the best version of him that we have. And so far, so good. That's what you want to preserve. And, you're going to need people to be, not, well, I'm just going to soldier on. And because you're actually bringing the team down more than you're helping them.
Oh, trust me, I know, man. I mean, you got to, anybody that's got that athlete in them, you've got to get yourself out of that because you want to get out there as much as possible, but then you realize that you're actually, hurting the team more than you are helping them. Jeff Gorman, my man, as you said, Indians have a day off here before they get back out there. We'll get our first look of the season at Mr. Carrasco now with his deal as the Indians will continue the remainder of this series in Houston before they come on home Friday. By the way, did you get a chance to see some of the renovations here? They released a lot of the pictures of the new look Progressive Field that people are going to get a look at Friday when the Indians come back home. Did you get a look at any of that?
A little bit. I just like how they're trying to do something different and they're sort of thinking outside the box and they're like, look, we're not absolutely packing this place like we did in the mid-'90s, so rather than have all these seats go unsold, let's try to do something different. And they're trying to, appeal to different fan bases and stuff, people who aren't necessarily the diehards. And, it's just going to be a matter of, and they put really a lot into the food and the menu and just different kind of food, and they really tout those big time. Oh, come on in here and eat this. Which is what I go to the ballpark for. But just want to make it a happening. Even if you sort of maybe roll your eyes at some of the people who aren't maybe paying attention to baseball as much as they should. But as far as the Indians are concerned, as long as they're glued to the game for all 9 innings.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm going to be interested to see how the reaction is in the park, what the atmosphere is like, how people like this. Hell, I'm going to be curious to see how people, how they. Well, number one, I want to see how hot of a ticket that, by the way, that quarter ticket is, given the free drink with the $13 standing room ticket. I'm very interested in that. But I'm interested in seeing. I want to see if the Indians are right about this. I want to see how on target they are. That's the words I was looking for. I want to see how on the pulse of their fan base they are, because they put a lot of research, and they do. The Indians love to do surveys, they love to do fan research and all of that and put it into play. So I'm interested. This is what their research showed, that would be a lot of good things conducive to the new type of fan that comes there. And I dig some of this, like the kids thing. That's great. That's a 2-story playhouse there for kids to do all kinds of stuff. You know, hey, if you've got kids and you've tried to take them to the game, you know there's 2 types: the type that watches everything and the type that watches nothing. So you know, at least if you've got the other, then you've got a shot there to keep yourself sane and enjoy a little bit of the game. But I'm interested to see exactly how dead on the pulse of their fans the Indians were. Maybe they hit onto something here. It's going to be interesting to see, and I want to see how hot of a ticket that $13 ticket is. I want to see if that section is continually packed over there. I agree with Bruce over there. I'm not a fan of the look of those big white boxes. I really don't like the way that looks. I get why, because I think those are selfie spaces. If you ask me, those are conglomeration places where you get your groups together, you stand and watch the game, and you can chit-chat and take your pictures and tweet and all of that kind of stuff. And Terry Pluto had a great article today kind of summing it up for the age gap in fans. He's like, look, I'm not that guy, but a lot of these guys want to tweet the guy that's sitting right in front of them. They want to text the guy that's 3 rows down. They want to take pictures. So I know that's what they are, but I don't like the look on the wide pictures. I don't like the look of those big white boxes either. What about you?
Yeah, that might be one of those things that we have to sort of say, well, it doesn't really, not exactly what I would do, but, it's not the really, the beautiful ballpark that you would envision, but it might be just one of those sacrifices that you have to make just for the sake of, getting everybody on board. And I mean,
what I would do? You know what I would do?
What?
I'd paint Chief Wahoo on every one of them. I'd paint a big smiling Chief Wahoo on every one of them. But that's just me. I'm out here causing trouble. I'm causing trouble, and then the Indians got all kinds of trouble. We don't need that. But I'm just saying, big white boxes, the Chief's smiling visage would look really great there. But that's just me starting problems. Jeff, enjoy today. Enjoy the rest of the week. You going to be out there Friday? Are you going to the home opener?
No, I'm not going to be able to make it, but I'm hoping to make an appearance or two this year. That'll be get the family up there and check things out.
Absolutely. Jeff Gorman, my man, you have a great week. Enjoy some Indians baseball. You and I will catch back up on Friday.
All right. I can't wait, man. Thank you.
You too, man. Have a good one. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. My man, he's here every Tuesday talking a little Tribe baseball. We're going to take a break, get you some news. When we get back, let's keep it rolling. Matter of fact, when we get back, I'm going to open up the phone lines again. 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. A little bit of Browns leakage rumors in the news. I don't know if you guys heard this or not. Apparently, somebody really wants the Browns to have Sam Bradford at quarterback. They just keep coming back to it, man. Apparently, so we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Cavs open phones, 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535. Where you at? I don't know. Give me a call. We'll be right back after the news here on the Sports Fix.
The Sports Fix, your choice for intelligent talk.
I'm expecting a very important delivery at the house, so could you please call me if it arrives? I'll give you my cell number. 401-555-1125.
440.
No, I was just repeating the 4. 1-4.
1-4.
Intelligent talk.
Okay, 1125.
1125. 155.
I'm not giving you quantities of the numbers. I'm giving you the numbers. 1125. Those are the last 4 numbers.
Oh, I see. 1125.
Yes. All right. Now read the number back to me.
Let me get my pen.
The Sports Fix will be right back.
I'm Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to The Sports Fix.
Today on Save on Taxes, we ask 100 people what costs less than filing your taxes with IRS Free File.
A car seat. Oh, a pair of shoes.
The correct answer is nothing. When you use Free File, you get brand name software, tax prep, e-filing, and help with the new healthcare provisions, all for free.
So, did we win anything?
Everybody wins. freefile.irs.gov. It's fast, it's safe, it's free.
Business owners and professionals, do you want to take your business, your product, your team, your event to the next level? You want to advertise right here with the Sports Fix. Our listeners are among the most loyal listeners, terrestrial or internet. The Sports Fix universe is not only the radio show, but tens of thousands of fans on Facebook and Twitter. Email me, Jerry Myers, thesportsfix@AOL.com. That's thesportsfix@AOL.com. And let me help you swing for the fences and hit it out of the park right here on the Sports Fix.
Whether it's an oil change or a new set of tires, Quick Lane at Valley Ford Truck has you covered for your car care needs. They're your neighborhood quick service experts. They also offer a low price tire guarantee. Choose from 13 brands, and if you find the same tires at a lower price within 30 days, Quick Lane at Valley Ford will refund the difference. 5715 Canal Road, right under the 480 bridge in Valley View. Come see why life is better in the Quick Lane. quicklane.com/Valley Ford Truck.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Harry Buffalo, join the herd.
News break. Good morning, I'm Bob Picozzi. UCLA has won 11, Kentucky 8, and now Duke is tied with Indiana and North Carolina for the third most NCAA championships with 5. In Indianapolis, 4 freshmen scored 60 of Duke's 68 points in a 68-63 win over Wisconsin for Coach Mike Krzyzewski's Blue Devils.
I haven't loved a team any more than I've loved this team. And, we have 8 guys, and 4 of them are freshmen. For them to win 35 games and win the national title is incredible.
Krzyzewski's 5th national championship moves him ahead of Adolph Rupp into 2nd on the all-time list, trailing only John Wooden's 10 titles. UConn coach Gino Auriemma can win his 10th national championship in women's basketball tonight. The Huskies meet Notre Dame in the NCAA Finals in Tampa, 8:30 Eastern Time on ESPN. Sonny Gray took a no-hitter into the 8th inning last night in Oakland's 8-0 win over Texas on opening night. He allowed only 1 hit in 8 innings to get the win. College football playoff executive director Bill Hancock tells NBCSports.com that the national championship game will remain on a Monday night.
With the new Citi Double Cash Card, every purchase gets a little sweeter because it's the card that lets you earn 1% cash back when you buy and 1% as you pay. With 2 ways to earn cash back, it makes a lot of other cards seem one-sided.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Do we want to get rocked?
Welcome back to the Sports Fix. J-Rocc back with you. Thanks to Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com for joining us last segment. Little bit of craziness going on behind the scenes here, guys. We've got another segment here to go, and then we're going to wrap things up early. Cut it short. A little bit of a shorter edition of the Sports Fix here today. No worries. Have no fear. Right back in the saddle. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and we'll keep things going. Just a little bit of minor craziness going on. It's all good, though. We'll still, hey, man, we're going to hit that 90-minute threshold. As long as we get there, we can at least limp our way through to another one. I apologize about that. Really, all kinds of craziness going on here, guys. But tomorrow, Dan Wismar will be in the house. Doug Plagans from the Lake Erie Monsters will be here as well. Speaking of the Monsters, they're going to play tonight. We'll get into that here in just a minute. Let's talk a little bit, though, before we roll on with other stuff here. Let's talk a little bit about, I know some Browns fans were talking to me in the last 24 hours a little bit on Facebook and Twitter about some of the latest things. Browns news has been pretty quiet, as it should be, really, this time of year here, and I prefer that. I would much rather their focus be on looking for players in this draft rather than finding dumb things to be up in the news about, although the latest uniform leak that came out, I'm not going to lie, I don't like the orange jerseys at all. I think the orange jerseys are so ugly, but Lord, I do love the orange pants and the brown jerseys, so I think we're going to have to trade a garbage orange jersey to get those orange pants back, but whatever. But anyways, that took, 30 seconds? That's the length of my conversation about that. But yeah, there's been a ton of these leaked photos, but going to actual leaked things. Of course, this weekend, Easter weekend, guys. And by the way, you guys keep the conversation going on Facebook and Twitter, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixcle. Phones are open for the last segment of the show, 216-539-7535, 216-539-7535. This past weekend, Easter weekend, a lot of stories out about Johnny Manziel, Browns quarterback, in rehab, out doing some golfing with his dad here for the holiday weekend, but returning back to his to finish up his inpatient treatment and rehab there before supposedly getting back in the mix here with the Browns. Although there's been a lot of talk in the last few weeks, I've been in the camp from the get-go that this is Johnny Manziel's horse to fall off of here as far as the Cleveland Browns quarterback job. I know Tony Grossi, longtime Browns beat writer. He's got a lot of sources. He's definitely been right about more than he's been wrong. I mean, say what you will. Tony Grossi and Mary Kay Cabot get lumped in the same category. Grossi's wrong about a lot of stuff too. I mean, he's definitely been around for a while and got some stuff. He's been dead set for the last few weeks that the Browns have 90% moved on from Johnny Manziel, and that it's the exact opposite of what many people think and what some people fear, which is that the Browns are going to force this thing like a shoehorn one way or the other. Word coming out this weekend, though, kind of lays some credence to that, and there's all kinds of people questioning the story. Chat Sports was the initial source. Mac Ferguson of Chat Sports reported that the Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles have had multiple conversations in the recent last few weeks here for a trade between the two teams, which would involve Johnny Manziel and an upper round draft pick from the Cleveland Browns to the Eagles for often injured quarterback Sam Bradford. And the first thing I'm going to say is I almost would rather take my chances with Manziel than Bradford, just because I don't think either one of them is going to work out. So I'm at least going to try the younger guy than the older, more injury-prone guy. I mean, I'm not on the Sam Bradford train at all, man. I remember how big of a deal it was that Brian Hoyer had one big injury there, and then Bradford's had the same injury back-to-back years, and everybody wants to trade the first round of the draft for him. And then, anyways, getting back to the story, I'll get to my opinion in a minute, but he reports that the initial conversation had the Browns offering a third-round draft pick and Manziel to the Eagles for Bradford. The Eagles are holding out that they want a first-round draft pick and Manziel, which, you gotta realize, the Browns spent a first on him last year, so that's the equivalent of 2 first-round draft picks, even if Manziel's whatever you think his value is. The Browns then upped their offer, allegedly, to a second-round draft pick. And I say allegedly, but the owner of Chat Sports said that he personally confirmed the legitimacy of the story, said that they had a 25-minute phone call with one of the people involved in the discussions and that they wouldn't have published it without that knowledge that these conversations have taken place. Say what you will, trade talks happen all the time, but this would be a very interesting scenario. I mean, it would allow Chip Kelly to get a quarterback that he allegedly coveted for his skill set and would potentially be a fit maybe for what Chip Kelly's trying to do there. It allows him he needs to get a quarterback for a quarterback, which was the whole point when people talked about the Bradford for Nick Foles trade to begin with. This would allow him to do just that. He wants the first round pick. I can see what Chip Kelly wants. Chip Kelly wants that first round pick, obviously, so he can make a trade up and go get Mariota. He would love, I would see, he having a situation, he being Chip Kelly, where he could have Mariota and Manziel coming in as a quarterback competition, and then, hey, maybe one makes it and one doesn't. Maybe they both do. Maybe neither one does, but let's throw both of these young guys in the fire with similar skill sets and see what they do. I'm telling you, I could at least see some plausibility in that portion of it as far as interest. Now, whether it happens or not, it would most likely be something that happens draft day, that type of a scenario. But it is an interesting thing, except for the fact that, man, I'm not trying to give up a high draft pick for Sam Bradford. If you want to trade Manziel in a third, I could do that, I guess, for Sam Bradford. I mean, I'll take the shot at it because the options are very, very limited. I am dead scared. Oh, to go into next season with Josh McCown as the starting quarterback. And so, I mean, Sam Bradford's a better option than him, a better option than Manziel, although maybe you'd rather go, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, with the younger guy. But that's been out there, you guys. And again, it is what it is. That's going to swirl a lot more stories like that. But it will definitely be interesting to see how that shakes down. These two teams have been involved in several different conversations, and I go back to what I said a couple of weeks ago. Chip Kelly is playing chicken with the Browns. I think Chip Kelly is just convinced that he can use the Browns in one way or another to get the quarterback that he wants, and this may be a part of that. It's going to be something very intriguing to watch how this all goes out. And you've still got the X factor of Johnny Manziel still in rehab, will be coming out soon. Speaking of Tony Grossi, he did an interview with Joe Thomas the other day. Of course, Thomas said some things about how Johnny Football needs to prove that he's all in before his teammates will start to trust him. He said Manziel lost trust amongst a lot of the guys on the team, the way he handled himself, and it would take a lot for him to recover from that. And I mean, you got to realize, whatever you may think or not of Joe Thomas, some people have a high regard for him, some people lesser. I think he's a stand-up guy. But as you saw last year, the Browns, the coaching staff, the front office, the locker room, they all have a high amount of respect for Joe Thomas and what he thinks. He had a big part to do with the way that they held off the quarterback change for so long in the middle part of last season. So don't think that those words don't weigh weight, and that's something that the Browns have to consider, because if that's the case, then do you look at it as no matter what, it's not going to be a clean slate? I mean, hey, guys can say, hey, we'll give them a second chance all they want, but if the Browns, if that feeling is true, then you wonder what kind of clean slate there could be, and then maybe the Browns move on. I don't know. I think that I can agree that this is definitely something that the Browns have discussed, and I definitely think that Manziel's in play. I've had some other talks. We talked about it a little bit here on the show where I could see a few other teams, Dallas being one, some other ones that he would intrigue as far as a potential flip. And then the Browns just look at it as, hey, you know what? Maybe it works out, but, this isn't the place for it. I don't know. But this talk does show some more things there. As we get closer to the draft here, it's going to be interesting watching these chess pieces play, because I still think that the big move that Chip Kelly needs to make is going to require the Browns, and I think he's just been setting up the pieces on the board here, and then boom, he's going to go out there and strike. And I don't see how anything good can come from the Browns trading a first-round draft pick, not even the 19. I don't care. Terry Pluto's my man. He makes a great case for a lot of things. I can't give up a first-round draft pick of any kind for Sam Bradford. There's no way. There's no way at all. I mean, I can talk about the other picks. We want to talk about a third round, second round. Even then, you're getting a guaranteed starter most likely in the second round of the draft if you know what you're doing. I don't know. And that's what I'm saying. I know quarterbacks are at a premium, and I know that's why some people will say that that's worth taking the chance, but I didn't think Sam Bradford was that good to begin with before that. He had a mediocre good his one good season was mediocre to me, I guess, and it's been all downhill since then. I'm not that guy. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to say because I don't know what to say. But exactly, Bruce. Hey, Thomas's word shows a lot of weight in the Browns locker room, and that's what I'm saying. If he's talking that way still, if he's not coming out and saying, yeah, gung-ho, we're going to give this kid a second shot, don't think that those same thought processes aren't going on behind the scenes in Berea. This is going to be I keep going back to the word intriguing. The Chip Kelly chess match here with him and the Cleveland Browns and all of this as we get closer to the draft. All right, guys, let's see what else we got going on here. Of course, getting ready to wrap things up for the day. I want to mention a couple of things. Monsters getting back at it. Doug Plagans, the voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, is going to join us tomorrow. Monsters have, 7 games remaining in their playoff push here, and they're 5 points back. They're 5 points out of the 8th playoff spot with 8 games remaining, and that means, 7 games remaining, as I just corrected myself. That means they've got 14 potential points left. None of these can slip away from the Monsters. This is the situation that this team has found itself in the last couple of seasons. And Doug and I keep coming back to this same conversation, and you can look back at those missed opportunities throughout the earlier stretches of the season, the beginning of that big long homestand last month. A lot of things that you can point to there, but you can't look backwards. All you can do is move forward, and the Monsters have to do that tonight. They're back on the road. They've got an 8 p.m. puck drop here for the Lake Erie Monsters, and the game will, of course, Doug Plagans, my man, the voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, doing the play-by-play tomorrow on, I think it's going to be on ESPNCleveland.com, but it's the Wolves of Chicago and the Lake Erie Monsters, 8 p.m. puck drop. Doug will be here tomorrow to talk about that here on the show. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan in the house as well tomorrow. One last little bit of news as we get ready to get out. I told you guys a little bit about this earlier. As a matter of fact, we talked about it last week. Trey Lewis asked for permission because, of course, he's approaching his graduation from Cleveland State. He's already transferred one previous time to Cleveland State, a one-year Viking player. Trey Lewis asked for and received permission to look for a post-grad transfer as he has 1 year of postgraduate eligibility remaining. Vikings gave that to him, and it looks like Cleveland State guard Trey Lewis will now become Louisville guard Trey Lewis, as Lewis is going to graduate from CSU here in a couple of weeks and then transfer to the University of Louisville. Lewis, of course, played for Penn State, then transferred to Cleveland State and was immediately eligible and able to play. Had a great season this year, and what's kind of ironic is one of the better games that Trey Lewis had was against Louisville. He had a 24-point game against the Cardinals, and it appears now that's going to be his destination. Terry Rozier getting ready to go out in the draft, came from Shaker Heights, and Trey Lewis from Cleveland State University most likely is going to replace him. The 6'3" Lewis averaged nearly 17 points a game for the Vikes, 43% on three-pointers this year. Second year in a row that the Vikings have lost a high-powered transfer. Bryn Forbes went to Michigan State, went back home for family reasons after last year's season, went to the Final Four this year. Now Trey Lewis is going to head to Louisville. Maybe he is part of a big tournament run coming up next March in March Madness. But Trey Lewis, a loss for the Vikings coming into next season. I'll get Coach Waters on here in the next few months, and we'll talk to him about the reverberations of that, plus some of the new guys he's got coming in next season. Guys, we're going to call it a day. Enjoy the Monsters game tonight. Enjoy some baseball around Major League Baseball. Won't be the Indians version, however. NBA basketball playoff stretches going down tomorrow. Dan Wismar is here. Doug Plagans. We're talking about it all. We'll get ready for some Cavs hoops and some Indians baseball and more. Same bad time, same bad channel. Live at noon tomorrow here on the Sports Fix. We love you, Cleveland and beyond, and we'll see you tomorrow, baby. Doing the thing right here on the Fix.